Welcome back to the channel. We're here in the Cluboratory at Miles of Golf. I'm Luke. I'm joined by one of our expert club fitters, Justin Paul. Justin, what's up, man?
How's it going, guys?
Today we are putting 10K to the test. And this test is, it's exactly what it sounds like. We have the two drivers that are really advertising that 10K moniker of like the 10,000 units of MOI, moment of inertia. Pretty much the most forgiving drivers we've seen, pretty much ever, I would say.
Yep.
We're gonna see if 10K is really all they say and more. And then to kind of add both a control and an experimental group into it, we have the Cobra Dark Speed Max, which isn't quite 10K, it's 9,200 units of MOI. We're gonna see if that 800 unit difference really makes a difference. And then now I'm gonna throw it to Justin to talk a little bit more about the test that we're doing today and how we're conducting it.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is we want to reduce the amount of variables. So I'm using the same shafts at the same lengths, all 45 inches, all the Ventus Black TR6X, and all at 9 degrees. Everything's set up neutral on these drivers. We're just trying to get as much as we can to get this test as simple and as clean and as quality as possible. What I'm going to do, and this is going to be taxing, I'm going to hit one drive with each driver and rotate every single time, just so I don't get in a rhythm with one driver. And we're going to do this for 60 shots. So I'll have a total of 20 shots with each club.
As Justin said, we're doing 60 shots, 20 with each driver, changing each driver after every single swing. Everything is pretty much exactly the same except for swing weight. They all do swing weight a little bit different. Ping and TaylorMade are within, I think, 0.02 grams on the swing weight. Cobra is just a little bit lighter. Yep. What were they at?
So Cobra was D1.5, Ping and QI, TaylorMade, are at like D3.6 and D3.8.
Yeah. And we didn't want to, obviously we would like them if they're all the same swing weight, but as soon as we start adding lead tape to try to equal that out, that then changes the original composition of that driver.
Absolutely.
Which we're doing this test of if it's straight off the rack, no manipulation done to it at all. Again, keeping all variables the same. One thing that I want to put out there to the viewer watching this right now too is don't take this as kind of a sweeping view of what these drivers are going to do for you as well. This is one person's test of these drivers. Now Justin is probably one of our best golfers here, so I can't imagine a better person to swing this and get us consistent shots on each one of them. But whatever his results are, that doesn't mean that's going to be your result with this driver, which is why you would end up coming in here to get fit to see what each of these drivers are going to do in your hands. But other than that, because we have 60 swings to make, I'm not going to keep talking and drown out the viewer. Let's get to hitting some shots. Homie's hyping himself up.
Just getting pumped up. Come on, baby.
One other thing to note as well as keeping all variables the same, all of these are the same exact golf ball. The same, what are we playing right now?
We're playing Titleist Pro V1s, not the X's.
Titleist Pro V1s.
TaylorMade.
Yep. Another quick note for the viewers while I keep changing tags here. We're going to, was that Cobra right now?
Yeah, we're at Cobra now.
We're not going to see as many swings in this video as you normally do when we're doing our club reviews. Because of the nature of me changing tags after each one and the switching between drivers, we're not going to have as much time to talk about each one. We'll have some conversation here and there, but you'll just kind of see a splicing of these swings together, and then you'll see our conclusion at the end. That thing is money.
So good.
Just yanked it a touch, but that thing isn't moving in the air though.
It is not.
It was a frozen rope, it just started a little bit left of target. We are at the halfway point of our test, giving you a little bit of a break. Which drivers, I shouldn't say which drivers, I mean, what are just your overall thoughts on this so far?
So I mentioned it a little bit earlier as I was hitting them. They all feel really good. The setups definitely are different shapes.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of them are trying to achieve the most forgiving setup that they can do it, but they're, they all set up differently in my eye.
It's as you just said that, it kind of reminded me of F1
Yeah.
a little bit. Like, they all have a limit to stay under. You have
Yes.
460 cc's, and they're trying to achieve the most aerodynamic yet effective build they can behind it.
Yep.
So they're all going to be a little bit different. Ferrari doesn't have the same car as Mercedes. Which, setting them down just to your eye, like what are the differences between them setting them down?
The biggest thing, I liked how, for me personally, the G430 10K looked like it was sitting a little bit more neutral, if not open.
Okay.
Now, I missed left, so for me, that is something that pleases my eye and gives me confidence.
Yep.
Now, the Dark Speed and the Qi10, they were sitting, I don't want to say shut, but they definitely sit a little bit more squared off, in my opinion. So just setting them down visually, I liked the Ping a little bit more.
Did any of them look bigger than another, like setting down as a footprint?
Yeah. I would say the TaylorMade probably has, just by a small margin, a little bit bigger of a footprint.
Okay.
Cobra was probably the most traditional looking, and then Ping's kind of that happy little middle.
All right. Taking a look at the numbers real quick at this halfway point, 163 miles an hour ball speed, 112 club head speed, launching at 9, spinning at 3,300, so a little bit on the high side, but even though it's 9 degrees aloft, what you play with a head design like this, pulling CG back, we might see that spin bump up a little bit.
Absolutely.
263 yards carry, 281 total, just a hair under 100 feet in terms of height. Side total, you were averaging 26 feet to the left. But kind of the more important numbers that we're going to really pay attention to in this test of spin axis and curvature, an average of negative 1.6 spin axis and an average of 10 feet of left curvature. However, we are missing this a little bit in both directions.
Okay.
That's just, again, no kind of conclusion on that. We're just missing this one a little bit in either direction. Going into Ping, a little bit tighter. You're still missing it both ways, but it did bring it in just a hair. Again, only 8 feet of average curvature, so we're seeing that come in. Faster ball speeds, 165 miles an hour compared to, what was it, 162 or 163, with just about the same amount of club head speed. So you're more efficient with this driver right off the bat. And we're seeing a little bit more ideal numbers for you. 11 degrees of launch, 2,300 RPMs of spin. Money, 280 in the air, 303 total. So as of right now, Ping has the slight advantage over TaylorMade. It could even be, again, your comfort. You said Ping looks the best staring down at it.
100%.
You might make some better swings, or this one's just better built for you. And then going into Cobra, the final of the three, pretty tight, actually. You missed this one definitely more to the left.
Yep.
You know, you said that even while you were swinging it, like, this driver feels like it wants to go left, and you're going to let that go left. We're not going to try to cater to the swing and try to kind of hold it off and go back to the right. 166 miles an hour ball speed, so both of these have a speed advantage over TaylorMade. 11 degrees of launch, 2,300 spin. So in terms of how these drivers are performing, in terms of launch characteristics, Ping and Cobra definitely have the edge right now over TaylorMade, but actually just a little bit more curvature on this one in terms of average. Spin axis is a little bit higher, but that spin in, my apologies, the curvature is more predominantly to the left. You've only missed 2 to the right here.
Yep.
So this driver is very predictable in what it's going to be doing. All right, we're at that halfway point. You feeling good?
Yeah,
Let's
let's
take some
do
more
it, man.
swings. Definitely wants to go left.
That felt like the same swing, dude.
Huh?
That felt like the same swing. Okay.
It is strange. You are catching this one a little bit on the thinner side comparative to other drivers. That one was struck well. It looked like it kind of rose a little bit more than I
think it is producing more spin. Now, granted, I am drawing the Cobra a little bit more, and so that's going to take spin away.
Yep.
So I did like how that last one went straight.
It's dead straight. We have the final swing of the session with the Cobra Dark Speed Max. Let's see how it goes. You end with your best swing from that club of the entire session. Well, let's see. just went a little bit farther left.
Whew.
How you feel?
I'm gonna feel it tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've hit all 60 shots, well 20 with each of them. I shouldn't say we, Justin did all the heavy lifting on that one. I brought him back behind my camera this time. I want him to really go through all the numbers that we're seeing on screen. He's the one that hit them. I want him to talk about what he felt and what he's seeing in this data. On that, hand it over to you, man.
Absolutely. So what I felt, all the drivers felt great, and there's definitely some differences we're seeing in the data here. There's going to be 4 data parameters that I'm going to kind of highlight here. So first and foremost, if you look here at the TaylorMade Qi10 Max, we're looking at ball speed. So over those 20 shots, I averaged 164 ball speed, and these tiny little numbers down here are super important. So these are our deviation numbers. This is telling me how consistent or inconsistent I was throughout those 20 swings. So 164 ball speed, plus or minus 2.2 miles per hour. So that means I had a 4.4 window of ball speed that those were taking off in. So cool, pretty good. That's actually pretty darn good with the driver.
Yeah.
Then we're looking at spin rate. So a lot of people get obsessed with this number. Spin is our friend to an extent. There is such a thing as too much, and there's also such a thing as too little. 3,200 is a little on the high side. So what this is going to create is a little bit more lift, which is going to have that ball land a little bit steeper. So I'm going to not get as much roll, but we do like that because it tends to have the driver go a little bit straighter. So our average curvature, not too bad. Tight little 14-foot draw, can't complain about that. The other number I really want to focus on, though, is my dispersion from right to left relative to the target. So on average, those balls were landing 25 feet left of the target, which is good. That's hitting a fairway. But my dispersion was plus or minus 67 feet. So I have a 134-foot wide circle that those balls are landing in. Good reference point. Most fairways are about 30 yards wide. So in theory, I got about 90 feet to play with. So I might have hit the fairway with a lot of these, but I definitely missed the fairway as well with some of these as well. So good stuff. Moving on, we have the Ping G430 10K. This thing felt great. Now, setup-wise, I am a drawer of the golf ball. This did look the best to me. It sat a little bit more open or less square, if you'd like to say it that way. So I think confidence definitely played into this. I'm a human, after all, and I have eyes. I'm looking at this driver. One thing we noticed is taking off faster. 166 versus the Qi10 Max was at 164. The other thing is the ball speed window was actually tighter.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on average, this was going right about 166 to 167 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And it wasn't varying much from that.
No, and it felt really good, and we were seeing straight shots as well. Now, the big thing I want to touch here, this is spinning almost 1,000 RPMs less than the Qi10 Max.
And they were both 9 degrees aloft.
Yeah, set dead neutral.
Same exact shaft.
Yep, we didn't want to mess with anything there. This is huge because this is actually the optimal spin rate to create your longest drives. If you start getting a little bit too much lower than this, you start seeing balls drop out of the air. You don't get the carry distance that you would want. Obviously, if you see it a little bit higher, just like we saw the Qi10 Max, we see that ball land a little bit steeper. But this was landing shallower than 40 degrees, so we did see a little bit more distance. But again, this is what I want to highlight. Curve and where these balls landed relative to our target. So on average, 24 feet left. It's almost identical to the average of the Qi10 Max, but we have a plus or minus 53-foot circle. So it's 106 feet wide. A lot tighter in terms of finding that golf ball. I might not be in the woods as many times.
And
so
looking at that just on the screen too, like on the left side of our screen right now, it kind of emulates a fairway with that. I mean, what is there, 5 or 6 that looked like it missed it just to the left and maybe 1 off to the right with that guy right there?
Yep.
We were joking when you were hitting it. It was the fairway every single time.
It seriously was, and you see a large collection right down our center line, which is awesome. It's always good to aim at something and hit it there, so that felt good. Yeah, Ping did a really good job with this. It felt good, looked good to me. Not to say that this is going to be better for everybody, but
yeah, you said it looked better to you, and then the numbers don't prove that, but everything about this driver is saying to be like, hey, this one's really good.
Absolutely. Now, the last driver that we had hit was the dark speed. Again, this is the one driver that was below 10K. Not by much, but it was below 10K units of MOI. We did see ball speed compete with the Ping. The window necessarily wasn't as tight, though. plus or minus 3, that was actually the biggest window that we saw those balls take off in speed-wise.
When you missed this one, we definitely saw ball speed dramatically drop.
Yes, we did. And so spin rate was amazing. You know, right on par with the Ping. You know, really good stuff. So distance was pretty close. But one thing I did notice, this driver, for me, liked to go a little bit more left. So instead of being 24, 25 feet left to my target on average, I was 52 feet. And the window, or I said from right to left, the dispersion, that circle those balls are landing in, was plus or minus 69 feet. You know, so we had a much wider circle, 138 feet wide. Yep. Not too much different than the Qi10 Max, but that was the widest dispersion that we've seen, that we saw. And our curvature was the most. You know, now, numerically speaking, the way the ball flew off this driver was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the flight was good. For me, being a drawer of the golf ball, this driver sat a little bit more closed, or I should say square, than necessarily what I would like or what I would play. This would be really good for somebody who fades the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was low spinning. But other than that, it was a fun test. I feel it. But we are seeing that, technically speaking, that 10K does make a difference, whether it be slight, you know, because it is slight, but it is a difference.
Especially in that curvature.
Yeah.
And then also one thing to note, you said ball flight parameters with Cobra.
Yep.
We launched it go back to that. It was 10 degrees launch, 2300, so that was the lowest of both that we've seen.
Yeah.
But this driver goes more left.
Yes.
So what am I talking about? Face at impact
Yeah.
to cause a ball to go left is going to close. We're going to decrease dynamic loft in that regard.
Exactly.
So seeing those two numbers is as expected with
Yes. Yeah, the draw is the lower spinning golf shot, and since this driver was drawing a little bit more, not a huge surprise. And truthfully, it was only about 10 feet lower. You know, it was exactly 10 feet lower on average.
So height was pretty similar.
Yeah, nothing major. You know, that spin axis though was definitely just a little bit more left or negative than I would have wanted, but still felt good. Ball speed was amazing.
Yeah.
Can't complain. But the winner today for me was the Ping G430 Max 10K.
Those numbers are perfect.
Yeah, it was fun to hit.
I mean, well, other than that, I don't want to keep Justin here too long. I want him to go home and get in an ice bath after that test you just said to do. Again, we said at the beginning, we've said it all throughout, these numbers are from his testing right here. Don't watch this video and go, oh my God, all right, 10K is the driver for me. That was the best out of this test. I need to go buy that one. This could change entirely. If I were to step up and do this test, I have no idea what my numbers would look like with that. I wouldn't just see this and be like, all right, now I'm going to go inside to our shop and buy a 10K. You got to go through that process. I say it in every single video. If you're going to buy a club, you need to throw it on a launch monitor and see what it's going to do. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have other video ideas you want us to do, anything like that, please leave that in the comments below. Other than that, see you later.
Thanks, guys.